In a quiet village near the deep, dark forest, there lived a lady named Amara. Amara had a habit that no one could understand. She picked up everything she found, no matter how small, dirty, or useless it seemed. A coin on the road? She took it. A lost button? She will pick it. Even an old rusted key she found by a well, she kept that too. Nothing was too small or too worthless for her. Some said it was a habit she had since childhood. Others whispered that she simply couldn't resist. The road doesn't belong to anyone, she would say when scolded. If something is left there, it's free for anyone to take. But not everyone agreed. People in her village often laughed at her. Amara, one day you'll pick up something that will bring you trouble, they warned. But she never listened. It's not stealing if no one wants it. It's just harmless things, she replied. If people don't want to lose their things, they should be more careful. But she had no idea how dangerous her habit would become. Her house was filled with odd things. A broken locket, a cracked mirror, a single shoe without its pair. She kept them all. She believed that everything had a story, and perhaps one day she would discover their secrets. One morning, Amara woke up early to fetch water from the village well. The air was crisp, and the village was quiet. She loved this time of the day when the world felt peaceful. As she walked along the narrow path, her eyes darted around, searching for anything unusual. That was when she saw a small, black necklace lying in the dirt, shimmering in the early morning sun. It looked expensive, with strange symbols carved into its pendant. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. She picked it up without hesitation and examined it closely. The chain was cold, too cold, as if it had just been pulled from ice. A strange chill ran down her spine, but she ignored it. A necklace like this must belong to someone important, she murmured. But instead of leaving it or asking around, she put it in her pocket. I'll keep it safe until I find the owner, she told herself. As she continued walking, she felt an odd sensation, as if someone or something was watching her. She turned around quickly, but the path was empty. The road was silent. The trees stood still, whispering secrets she couldn't understand. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a gust of wind howled through the trees, chilling her skin. A distant cackle echoed from somewhere, far away. Amara shivered. She walked faster and went home, gripping the necklace tightly in her palm. The strange whisper she heard at the well echoed in her mind. Had she imagined it? The early morning air was always full of strange sounds. Perhaps it was just the wind. By the time she reached her small house, she had convinced herself that there was nothing to worry about. She placed the necklace on a wooden shelf and went about her morning chores. As the day went on, she nearly forgot about the necklace. But then, just before sunset, an old woman stopped by her house. It was Mama Coco, the oldest woman in the village, known for her wisdom. Mama Coco rarely visited anyone unless it was important. She stood at Amara's doorstep, her wrinkled face serious. Child, I had a dream about you last night, Mama Coco said, leaning on her walking stick. In my dream, you picked up something that was not yours, something dangerous. Amara stiffened. It's just a dream, Mama Coco, she said, trying to laugh. Mama Coco's sharp eyes studied her. Dreams are never just dreams. Tell me, did you find anything today? Amara hesitated, then sighed. She stepped aside and pointed to the shelf where the black necklace lay. I found this near the well this morning. Mama Coco gasped. Oh, child, what have you done? She whispered. Amara frowned. What's wrong? It's just a necklace. The old woman shook her head. That is no ordinary necklace. It belongs to the witch of the dark forest. A chill ran through Amara's body. Everyone in the village knew the tales of the wicked witch who lived deep in the forbidden forest. They said she could curse people with just a whisper, that she could turn them into shadows that roamed the earth forever. I didn't know, Amara stammered. I was going to return it, but after Mama Coco left, she laughed and said, I think she just want me to stop picking things, but deep down she was scared. That night, strange things began to happen. Whispers in the dark. Amara was lying in bed when she heard it. A whisper, faint, chilling, and not coming from her room. Her heart pounded. She sat up, listening. The whisper grew louder, wrapping around her like a shadow. Give, It, back. Amara's breath hitched. She turned to her window. The curtains fluttered, though the air was still. The lamp beside her flickered. Then her door creaked open slowly, painfully as if something was entering. Amara scrambled for her lantern and held it up. The room was empty, but the whisper remained. She shut her eyes tight, pulled the blanket over her head, and waited for morning. The next day, after everything she encountered, Amara decided to sell the necklace. It looked valuable, and if she couldn't sleep because of it, at least she could make some money. She went straight to the jeweler's shop, a small wooden stall run by an old man named Barrow. Barrow took one look at the necklace and his face turned pale. He stepped back, almost knocking over his tools. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. Amara frowned. "I found it on the road." Barrow's hands shook as he pushed the necklace away. "Take it away. Take it far away." "Why?" Amara asked, confused. "That necklace?" Barrow gulped. "It belongs to Maha the witch." Amara's heart skipped a beat. Maha! She had heard the name before. Everyone had. Maha was the most feared witch in the land. They said she lived deep in the cursed forest, where the trees whispered and the ground swallowed footsteps. No one went near her. No one survived if they angered her, and Amara had taken her necklace. That was when she realized that Mama Coco was telling her the truth. Fear gripped Amara's chest. She ran home, her hands trembling. She needed to get rid of the necklace. Without thinking, she rushed to the old stone well behind her house. It was deep, dark, and filled with water from the underground river. She pulled the necklace from her pocket, hesitating for only a second, then threw it in. It sank into the blackness. She sighed in relief, but the relief didn't last. That night, the real nightmare began. At midnight, Amara awoke with a jolt. The air was thick, heavy, unnatural. Then she heard it. Thud. A heavy footstep outside her house. Then another. Thud. Thud. The air filled with the scent of burning herbs and rotting leaves. A cold wind rushed through the cracks in her walls, sending shivers down her spine. Then a voice, low, ancient, and filled with rage, rumbled through the night. "Where is my necklace?" Amara's blood turned to ice. She peeked through a small crack in her window, and there she was. A tall, cloaked figure stood outside her house. Her skin was gray, her eyes red like burning coals. Her hands were long and thin, her nails sharp as daggers. Mahabakra Amara's breath caught in her throat. The witch sniffed the air, her nostrils flaring, her glowing eyes locked onto the door. The whisper returned. But now it wasn't soft, it was loud, angry and inside Amara's head. "Give it back." Amara backed away, shaking. I don't have it." The witch lifted her hand. The door flung open with a deafening crash. A dark, invisible force wrapped around Amara's body, pulling her outside. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Maha's cold fingers touched her forehead. A shiver ran through Amara's bones. "You stole from me," Maha whispered, "and thieves must be punished." Then Amara felt it. Her body twisted. Her bones cracked. Her skin shrank, turning rough. Her hands disappeared, and her legs vanished. She fell to the ground. But instead of feet, she had tiny webbed frog's legs. Amara let out a shriek, but it came out as a croak. She was no longer a woman. She was a frog. Maha picked her up, smirking. "You will live like this until the end of your days, hopping in the dirt like the thief you are." Then with a flick of her wrist, she disappeared into the night. The village was silent once more. From that day on, no one saw Amara again. But sometimes on nights when the moon was full, villagers swore they saw a tiny gray frog sitting in the middle of the road, its small, sad eyes filled with regret. And when the wind howled, they could hear a whisper in the night. Lesson of the story is, never take what isn't yours. And not everything you see on the road you must pick or touch. Some things are meant to be left behind. If you enjoy this story, please share, like, comments, and subscribe for more captivating stories.